possibly can to ensure that this doesn't happen again. Part of that may be law reform, almost certainly it will be. Part of it will be a comprehensive police response. But it also goes down to the level of confronting racism and anti-Semitism in our community. We saw a shocking act of public violence yesterday afternoon, but we've seen time after time over the last 2 years in particular, but even before that, of public acts of anti-Semitism in our community. It lights a fire, it's toxic, it gets into the marrow of a community, and the only sensible, fair and just response is a community standing up as one and saying we will not tolerate racism, we will not tolerate anti-Semitism in New South Wales.
We will leave that press conference there. We'll just leave that press conference there for the moment. We have a lot to get through, actually. There was quite a bit of information that came out from there. The message that we just left there from the Premier of New South Wales, Chris Minns, is one that we all need to hear. This is a time to come to the father of a 50-year-old man who is the man who has been killed. He was deceased at the scene. The 24-year-old, his son, is in a serious, critical but stable condition in hospital right now.
Yeah, and look, we still haven't got any details yet on how the 50-year-old father was killed.
No.
And there is still lots of investigation, parts of this investigation ongoing. Just while that press conference was on, we did get some vision of what looked like a car being towed out of here. So we're not sure what the relevance of that is, other than it had two motorbike cops in front of it, and it was being escorted out. So it's obviously of some importance. I think that's, in terms of the terrorism aspect of all of this, they're yet to confirm it. I think that by the indication we're getting there from them is that there was some element of their behaviour that had attracted ASIO and AFP attention, but it wasn't anything significant, so it may have just been in passing.
They did also rule out a third. Remember, there were question marks about whether there was a third perpetrator in this case. They have ruled that out. They said it was this father and son, as far as they go, acting together.
Also, there was no more details on the improvised explosive device that was left at the scene. So, look, there are still bunches of things that they're working through at the moment, but they have also confirmed that they've increased the level of police presence in and around this area to try and appease the concern of the Jewish community. Not sure how they'll go with that, given the warnings that the Jewish community have been on about for the last couple of years. They're understandably frustrated and angry, and now they're desperately sad and in grief for what has transpired yesterday afternoon. Rabbi Gabby Coltman joins us from Melbourne. Rabbi, thank you so much for your time this morning, and we can't imagine the difficulties you're going through in your community.
Thanks, Carl.
That you must be experiencing. How are you feeling?
Well, heartbroken, was shattered. That feeling of safety and security that we all have as Australian Jews and just as Australians is not really there this morning. We're in a state of shock and disbelief. My best friend's father-in-law has passed away. I have known Rabbi Eli Schlanger for over 20 years, the most beautiful soul. I know victims that are injured. We're an incredibly tight-knit community here in Australia, and we are rocked to the core.
Rabbi, we are still trying to get our heads around what happened here. The Jewish community had come down here to Bondi to celebrate Hanukkah. This was supposed to be a moment of joy for them, of peace, of celebration. And the most unfathomable terrorism struck at the very core of your community. I mean, when you think about your beautiful friend, the rabbi who was killed, and there's so many others who were killed alongside him in this horrific attack, where does your mind go?
Celebrating Hanukkah in public is a common occurrence. We come together as a community because ultimately Hanukkah is all about spreading light, increasing light, pushing away darkness. And after the 2 years that the Jewish community has had here in Australia and around the world, who wouldn't want to come together to celebrate as a community? And to be in this situation now is just a horrible, horrible nightmare. It's something that we never thought could happen on these shores here in Australia. So many of us have backgrounds of fleeing persecution, pogroms, discrimination, the Holocaust, and coming to Australia to rebuild a better life. And for this to have happened on the shores Live Beach is just unfathomable.
Just in relation to Rabbi Schlanger, tell us a little bit about him. I mean, he had a wonderful light about him, a family man and also a community man. He was known as the Bondi Rabbi, I think, on social media. How would you describe him and the impact he had on those closest to him, those around him, including yourself?
He was always down to have a good time. So loving, so giving, shirt off the back type of guy. Always wanted to assist. And when you would be with him, there was a sense of calmness and coolness that everything was going to be all right. He was there for you. He would check in with a phone call, come to your house to speak when you were going through a tough time. And his community knew that he was that beacon of light, of calmness throughout the storm, and that's what he had been throughout the past two years. And 20 years ago when I knew him, when he was here in Melbourne, that's exactly what he was. He was the man that you went to get things done, but there was always this sense of calmness, generosity, and kindness. And it's unbelievable. It's a nightmare.
And now the community has lost that brave and beautiful man and so many others. And it's just hard to believe that so many loved ones will be mourning those who were killed, that they won't be coming home today, that they won't be celebrating with them the rest of Hanukkah. And Rabbi, I know you're in Melbourne. I know that there have been events cancelled down there in Melbourne because there is so much concern from the Jewish community. You said before, you never expect something like this to happen in Australia. No one in Australia expects an act of terrorism of this scale to happen at all. But you have been so concerned that this exact situation would unfold.
Around the Hanukkah Federation Square last night, we had an incredible celebration with thousands of people coming out to really increase light and join the Jewish community in shining light and celebrating Hanukkah. We work hand in hand with Victoria Police and security apparatuses to make sure that people are safe. At the moment, the Fed Square Hanukkah is the Pillars of Light is not yet cancelled. That's a decision and a discussion that we will be having with the relevant parties this morning. But ultimately, we cannot cower. We cannot back down because they win if that happens. We need to continue to share and spread light. And that is the message of Hanukkah. That regardless of how things seem, when they're at their darkest, you can always add light. And I know so many Australians are going to want to rally around their Jewish friends and the wider Jewish community and come to Hanukkah events. Now, of course, they need to be properly secured, but ultimately, we need to go ahead with these events and come together as Australians to add light in our lives.
Rabbi, just before we go, I know you were listening to the Prime Minister and the Premier of New South Wales a short time ago, and their message of reassurance to the Jewish community. How does that go down?
It's appreciated right now, but ultimately and understandably, the Jewish community does not necessarily feel safe. We're desperate for that sense of security, for that hug that we need right now from everybody, regardless of where you are in society. So ultimately, things will be telling on if we can go ahead and celebrate Hanukkah in public with all communities and really add that light into our lives, which we need so badly right now. So my message to everybody is add light, light the Hanukkah candles, come together as Australians and together with the Jewish community, because we need to stand next to and steadfast with each other right now.
It's a tradition that has been going on for more than 2,000 years, Hanukkah. How Jewish
some really
Thanks,
powerful and
Rabbi.
strong words. We'll wrap our arms around the whole community. Well, still to come on this horrific day, the aftershocks of the Bondi attack felt right across the world. We will have full reaction from both here and overseas next.
And bravery beyond words, praise for this hero bystander who tackled one of the Bondi gunmen. What an Australian. Stay with us on this special edition of Today. We're back after this.
20 minutes go by and we went down and there was still shooting, but we had to make sure everyone was alright. It was just me and my mates, just our instincts kicked in. And first thing we saw, blood everywhere. We went to the playground, in the playground area, and we see blood where the Jewish event was. And I had people that were there that I knew, family members, and I still can't get in contact with some of them, so I'm a bit nervous about what's going on. It's the worst feeling I've ever seen. I wouldn't wish this on my worst enemy. Seeing all these bodies on the floor, blood everywhere. It was, especially for a young kid like me, it was the worst feeling ever. Like, oh, I just can't describe the feeling.
This is terribly difficult.
Yeah.
And I appreciate you coming on to talk to us.
Yeah.
And some of this we didn't know, so apologies if we ask you things that are terribly insensitive. Please just tell us, right?
Yeah.
So you would have seen in the immediate aftermath, and subsequent to that, you've got a family member missing. So, in the aftermath, you saw police, you saw ambulance officers, you saw the community coming to help. Just describe that for us. What you saw.
I believe it's just who we are as a person. Whether you're a lifeguard or not, the community is so tied together that we would always put our lives in danger to help other people. It's just the people in Bondi, it's just how the community is. I believe that everyone that was there today, yesterday, showed courage, fearless, and we're all just trying to help each other out, which I really respected, which I assume from like the whole community is what we would do. Which everyone was just trying to help each other out, which was the main part, and I'm really proud of how everyone handled the situation, especially that Muslim guy that tackled down that gunman. Props to him. Like without him, more lives would have been lost.
A proper legend.
He is a proper legend, and he deserves as many beers as he can.
And he's in hospital now, having been injured himself, recovering. I mean, he is the epitome of what the Australian spirit is, and the heroism to tackle down a gunman who was holding a gun. I mean, he undoubtedly, as you said, saved lives.
He's a hero. Without him, more lives would have been lost, and he deserves the utmost respect for what he has done.
You're dealing with a lot as a young man, right? I hope that you've got, the family's okay.
Yeah.
What are they saying?
There's a lot of mixed emotions right now. Firstly, anger.
From that young man, this has been replicated everywhere. How did you see things yesterday? How did it unfold in your eyes?
Unspeakable tragedy. Our community is in mourning and is in shock. You can imagine my phone was blowing up. People were asking, are you okay? They're asking if other people were okay. It was really just chaos because this was an event that had over 1,000 people. It's held every year, Hunted by the Seeds. It's joyous, and this barbaric terrorist attack, was deliberately targeted at our Jewish community. And we really are still in shock and grieving and mourning, and my thoughts and prayers and that of our community go out to the victims, their families, and all those impacted.
Representing this community, Will, and the people who live here, you would have heard, no doubt, countless times over the past few years the concerns that the Jewish community had, the alarm that they were feeling, and the breach of safety on a daily basis. What kinds of warnings do you think may not have been heard here?
I think the time for talk is really over, and now it's a time for action. You rightly have said the Jewish community have said that they haven't felt safe for quite some time, and now it's clear that they haven't been safe, and we all need to pull together all levels of government, all different levels of society, because this can never be repeated again. This is absolutely devastating.
I mean, I think that's true, but I also think that there's been a lot of talk for a long time, right? And you're a couple of wackos with gun licenses, and they come down here and they have that sort of an impact on our way of life, on the way of life of so many families families this morning, right? So whatever needed to happen should have happened, but it hasn't. So what needs to happen tomorrow?